Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Phylpt Live broadcast. My name is Atishh, Bhalerao. I'm the co-founder and director at Phylpt. On today's Sports Day, on today's National Sports Day, we honor Major Dhyanchand's legendary frame by bringing sports science and AI technology to every playground in India. Driven by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mandate to scout 10 million youth athletes aged 5 to 15, we are here to build India's Olympic pipeline for the mission, which is 2036. So let's turn 1.5 billion dreams into Olympic goals. On that notes, we would also like to decode the entire discussion today. Let's please welcome our esteemed guests. It is a sheer honor of us and a pleasure of us to welcome Vamsi Kondreddy. He is the director of Dream Olympic Sports and he is a league commissioner of Premium League Baseball, and he's pioneering new Olympic sports pathway across India. Vamsi sir, a warm welcome, and we look forward to an amazing conversation.
Thank you so much.
All right. So on that notes, let's also welcome Ambar Jog. So Ambar sir is the strength and conditioning coach for Mumbai Cricket Association, which is Talent Hut 2.0. He's also the co-founder of Powered Sports Tech, which is blending sports science and psychology for youth athlete development. Ambar sir, a warm welcome to you.
Warm welcome. Thank you.
All right. Let's also welcome Dennis D'Souza. So Dennis sir is a veteran sports coach, author, educator, and a TEDx speaker, bringing 25 years of field experience to revolutionize sports physical education, and at the school levels, at the college levels, and at university levels. Dennis sir, we look forward to great insight from your end.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
All right. Before we deep dive or start our conversation, this is for everybody who has joined us live on Meta, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So guys, this is supposed to be a interactive session. We want all of you to use the comment box and share any kind of questions, queries, what you have. It could also be very specific to any of our guest speakers. On that notes, we would also like to take this opportunity and this forum to express about what Phylpt is working on. So we are launching world's first predictive sports engine for kids, where we will identify the future sports of your kid right from an age of 3 to 12. Okay, stay tuned for the same. We have been working on this from the last 3 to 5 years, along with the nation's legendary badminton player and India's national badminton coach, Kulila Gopichan, our national gymnastic coach, Manoj Rana, along with myself, and we also have Mr. Sunil Pushottam, who is developing this entire technology. All right. So on that notes, Vamsi sir, the very first thing which I'm going to be coming to you and I'm going to ask you is, we are talking about, on this particular occasion of National Sports Day, we are talking about scouting 10 million youths. Okay. As a veteran who has spent or who has contributed so much to the sports ecosystem of India, how do everybody who's responsible, who's contributing to the sports ecosystem, be it a parent, a student, an athlete, a coach, a mentor, school, college, even the entire ministry and education, and the ecosystem, how should we perceive this particular opportunity? Yes, Vamsi sir.
Okay, thank you. It's a good sign, I would say. It's a very good sign and a very positive sign and a need of the hour as well. So, in terms of coming to the identification of a talent and giving out a number of 10 million, so precisely I see this statement from Honorable PM as a very positive sign and recognizing the strength and the need for the country in terms of the sports is concerned. From the beginning, even whatever that, though I came lateral entry into the sports ecosystem, I've been into the finance and management for quite long time, but I'm a vivid follower of the every sport right from the childhood. Oh, I never see identification is the biggest challenge for us. I think the biggest challenge for us in India is the creating a pathways for the people who've been identified as a sports talent. That's a biggest challenge, but will not go into the topic because that might be a later point of a subject. So coming to like, I would actually answer it in two points. One, India being the fourth largest economy in terms of the GDP terms, post like the US, China, and Japan and all. And if I look at the GDP numbers, sports economy is not that much. Rest top 10 GDP terms in the economies, you see that 3% of the total GDP is occupied by the sports itself, every top 10 economies itself. So we do have a place. We do have a place. And efforts, leaving the politics apart, efforts, whichever the government, whether it is a central sovereign government or the states, they are giving out the best. They are giving out the best. And the contributors is everywhere. If I look at the as a state, they would be actually framing out the right policies, giving out the enough budgets, and also people who've been the part of the execution, whether it is the Sports Authority of India and going to the very grassroots level, a coach is everyone is essential in this system. So, though there is a case of identification, but now it is being structured. That is one thing that I will say it right now. After when we have the moment of structuring the identification, at the follow up, if we can really take care of the pathways for them to reach to the elite levels or desired levels, that makes a lot of a difference, I would say. So
Okay.
in this context, I'm very delighted to be in the sports domain, having the decades of an experience of investment banking. I really cherish myself being in the sports man at the right time. I look forward the next 2 decades would be a very game changer for in terms of the sports in India.
Okay, great. Yes, I mean I can relate now where it is coming from. Being from the finance background, we are also trying to make it that okay, the contribution to the economy also should be there from the sports ecosystem, which is a very valid point. I mean, yes, it cannot be just cricket, hockey, or any other sport which is contributing to the sport ecosystem or the economy to a larger extent for our country. But when we go all guns, I think that contribution would also be looked up to the next level. So, Amber sir, on that notes, as Vamsi sir said, identification is not a challenge or may not be a challenge. We are trying to put steps into place where we will identify and so on. One important thing which Vamsi sir said, though I would like to answer, well, I would like to hear it from you also from the audience perspective that how do everybody who are responsible for the sports ecosystem in India, they should perceive this opportunity. But apart from that, Amber sir, I would also like to understand one important thing which Vamsi sir said is about the pathways. How would you identify those pathways? ये pathways कैसे identify करेंगे? और how do a parent, school, university, college perceive this opportunity? 10 million, बहुत बड़ा number है. It's a huge number, right? When it comes to our population and specifically this age criteria population, बहुत छोटा number हो जाएगा. But एक system होना चाहिए. So how do they perceive and what pathways you look up to? Amber sir.
So, as we know that is a huge population, and everybody expecting our nation to perform well in Olympics or something like that. So it all starts with the basics. So anything that starts with the basic, and at the basic level, if infrastructure is there, wherein the early identification of talent is going to happen, there somebody is going to guide them about their fitness, their mental state, their nutrition and everything. So people are looking for certain kind of things. Everybody is expecting their child to get into certain kind of activities, physical activities, because nowadays we know that many kids are hooked up to the screens, and we definitely want them to get on field, on garden, somewhere they're playing some physical activities. So obviously all the pathways that are available, anything that is coming up with certain solutions, certain innovative idea, people would love to get on to that. And that's why we would see that anything new, anything that is addressing to this thing, people would love to get and become part of it. They will send their kids for certain kind of activities, and definitely. So all the pathways that can be enabled by the authorities, right from the district, state, corporation level, school and colleges. Everybody is responsible for this kind of initiative, and at the same time, I think people and kids would love to be part of that. So definitely, it's a good thing. I mean, really need of our, I would say.
Okay. All right. Now I am able to relate. So I'm Dennis sir. I'm going to take the entire thought process from Vamsi sir and Amber sir. I'm going to take that inputs and also ask the same question to you. That
Yeah.
how do the parents, schools, colleges, universities, authorities perceive this opportunity? This is a huge opportunity, but since you also contribute to largely on colleges, institutions, schools also, because Amber said also said about basics should be taken care of. Okay, when we are taking care of basics, the identification is at an early stage. So,
Yes.
how do we perceive this opportunity? What would be your add-on pathways, which Amber sir has said, and how do we also ensure that basics should be also taken care of at the school level, at the authority level, and so on? Yes, Dennis sir.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice thing. I mean, I would like to add to what Vamsi sir said in the beginning. He mentioned 10 million ka figure. Okay, if you just for the data, if you see the Olympic medal where USA gets, no, USA gets, so they are number one. From where they come from? They come from university level. They do, in India, the medals are coming from private. Okay, so we, as both Amber sir and Vamsi sir said, yes, in school, at grassroots level, at whatever the infrastructure level or whatever it is, we have to encourage parents. If parents are listening onto this video at the moment, mostly I hope your audience is parents also over here. They should encourage. They should encourage children to take part in these sporting programs done by the universities or their institutes or their colleges or their schools, because you see, 80 to 85% medals for USA are coming from universities. It's a huge number, you see, and they are always number one. Well, we are struggling to get 6 medals. Last time we got 6 medals. Before that, in Tokyo, we got 7 medals.
Yeah.
And just like last time, where Mr. PM Modi gathered all the athletes to give their feedbacks and all, you should have seen the same thing. He had done it in 2021 Olympics. I mean, it was in 2020, but happened in 2021, where we had got 7 medals when Neeraj Chopra had got his first gold medal in the athletics section. Yeah, that is where he encouraged. He went into every athlete and he told that, why don't you go to your schools, your universities, आपके गांव में जाओ, आपके villages में जाओ. Villages and all, they produce good this thing. उसके लिए टेक्नोलॉजी और ज़्यादा मतलब इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पे खर्चा करने की जरूरत नहीं है. I feel that way. That's my perspective of looking at it. And yes, if parents are listening over here, as an educator and teacher over here, I come across hundreds of students who are trying to tell me, sir, what is the next path? Can I do this? I'm good at this. Can I do this? Yes, you can do well. So that's my take on it.
Absolutely. I completely relate this. As a parent myself, I have a 8 years old daughter. And until a parent would not take that initiative, it is not possible for a kid to not just perceive, because we focus so much on academic achievements, specifically from Indian academics perspective, that we at times do not see the contribution what the kid can do when it comes to sports or physical literacy, to be very precise. And yes, the numbers what you spoke about, um, Paris Olympics, 117 participants with such a huge population. I mean,
Yeah.
if you ask me, we should have been we should be the highest participating nation when it comes to any sport championship across the globe. We're looking at our infrastructure, the current infrastructure, also the population. Okay. On that note, Vamsi sir, what I'm going to try and understand, since Dennis sir also spoke and emphasized that parents, yes, Dennis sir, parents are also a very integral part of our Flip live broadcast. There are maximum parents who listen to us. So, Vamsi sir, um, many a times what happens is, I'm giving from my own example, being a parent myself, we we as parents emphasize more on medals, I mean, um, and in the Khelo India dialogue, our honorable Prime Minister also emphasized that we should probably concentrate or build a sustainable global sports ecosystem rather than chasing mere medals. So, uh, how would that particular change of thought process, you who's contributing to the sports ecosystem, would like to put it across the parents, saying this, don't look at the outcome, right? I mean, our captain of one of the most successful captain, MS Dhoni, also ended up saying this, right? Don't look at the result, look at the process. So how do this mindset should be adopted by the parents, that don't look at the medal, look at creating that global sports ecosystem? Yes, Vamsi sir.
Yeah. So, in fact, the first time that I would see a leader of a nation talking about very specifically about the participation rather than the medals. So, in fact, Modi ji mentioned that we should try to, even at this stage, we are not even participating half of the events that is happening at the Olympics. Even not participating, forget about the medals. Coming to like a question about forgetting the medal and looking at an ecosystem. See, everyone looks after about a safety net. As a parent, be honest. It is not being selfish, being honest. So it's about safety net. As a parent, I want to see that my child grow in a safety net, so he will be secured when he got to the right age in terms of settling down.
Yeah.
So this is precisely the point. I think it is a very vibrant in this country at this point of time. If I ignore for a time being the team sport, if I look at the non-team sports like a single athlete sport, to get a medal at an Olympic, I wanted to ask this forum, how many people would have really worked hard to get a medal? Probably thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
Thousands. Even the groundmen also really worked hard to actually make this kind of a give a support to get this medal. I don't think a single athlete would really alone can achieve a medal, right? Then now question comes, when we got the medal, who is getting that whole recognition? So I'm not going to the deep into that like a conversation of like, whether it's fair, not fair, and all. It's not that ecosystem. What I'm saying is that when 1,000 people or 10,000 people working to get a medal, other remaining 999 or whatever that 9,999 people, are they still in the safety net to make their own lives safe?
Mhm.
So that is what is an ecosystem is all about. So when you actually in a 10, when the vision itself is a 10 million identification, do you think the objective is also getting the 10 million medals? No, right? So if the objective is not 10 million, so what is the alternative? Question is that elite performance age is also limited. You can't really be at a 60 competing with a 16-year-old kid. So then what about like careers of the other people? That's where the point, I think, if I really interpret the statement of Honorable Prime Minister and the rest of the members of the ecosystem is that just don't work for a medal, work for an ecosystem so that every person who is contributing to get this medal should be safely landed in their careers, and that safety land should be sustainable so that other people who has the edge, see, even in one, two, three, fourth, even if I look at the rank, so first place to 10th place in Olympic also, it is also a sprint, 100-meter sprint. It is not even a second difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even so, everyone at the same level, because we need to have a first and second. So that's just a mathematical calculation that we need to show. Everyone at the same level. Everyone it is the same level. The question is that, so to have such kind of a people, whole ecosystem is working, make that whole ecosystem is sustainable so that we'll have an interest from the parent. That's a point going, like interest from the parent. If not, my child is going to get a medal, but he will be well settled in the ecosystem, which will contribute to the medal, is what the point is all about.
Absolutely, it's very rightly said, sir. I mean, I can definitely relate this, that every parent who's listening to us, or every parent, because this our live broadcast is going to be preserved, they would always have this question to us, since we are contributing and we are we are talking on the National Sports Day, that what happens to my child if he doesn't win a medal, right? What happens if he's not succeeded to number one, number two, or he doesn't win a gold, silver, whatever? I mean, what next? How is the society? How is the country? How is the ecosystem going to help my child? Because many a times it is like, okay, even only when you win at 1 to 3 level, then you have been known, right? I mean, in India, I mean, even in academics, people know who is the number one, or who's ranked number one in the class, but people would hardly know who is number two in the class, who is number three, but they have put in the same kind of efforts to be at that particular level. It's very rightly said. And one very important thing of creating a sustainable sports ecosystem. Okay, I think you have also given us topic for the next broadcast, because how do you define a sustainable sports ecosystem? We are not even aware of that. How would you define that? Okay, but yes, taking this conversation to the next level, Amber sir, we would also like to understand. Vamsi sir emphasized more on creating that ecosystem of, irrespective whether you win the medal or not, contribute to that sports ecosystem. Okay, but there are certain things in the parent's mind, okay, which our honorable Prime Minister also emphasized, which is about sleep quality, positive mindset, along with physical training for youth. Now, how do parents take care of all these aspects, even when it comes to this kind of thought process, that okay, I might have not won a medal, but I've contributed, I have participated, which is one very important thing. But at the same time, the parent also need to take care of this sleep quality, their positive mindset, along with the training. How do parent perceive this?
So, further to what Vamsi sir was saying, whenever parents come to me as a strength and conditioning coach, and they're budding athlete or someone who is training with me for the physical performance, and they say that whether it is really necessary and what he will get benefited, same thing, like whether he will get medals, not, or how he will get successful, how much he or she. I always tell them that even if he or she doesn't get a medal or be very successful, she or he will become very disciplined. Now, the discipline will get inculcated automatically when they are into the professional sport. He or she will be eating right, training right, discipline, and even time management, because in India, while you are playing some sport, you have to also study also. So you will become more smart with the time. You will value the time, and then rest part, recovery part. Now I always tell them that even if he or she becomes successful at 30, 35, at least retire. And they usually they are still young in a way. In normal general population wise, they are still young. 35 is very young age. They have to find some alternative career overall. They have to do some few things later on after this career is over. If they are physically fit, mentally fit, because sports tells you how to handle failures also. So you become mentally also very strong. So those qualities will help them to build their future even after sport. So even if they get successful or not, second thing I always tell them that maybe during this journey they might transition from one sport to another sport. That also we have seen. But this discipline, these healthy habits are going to take them on longer route, when other kids who are not playing any sport, who are hooked up to the screen, eating junk food and everything, these kids are going to become better. So they are going to contribute to the country overall for their own health in a way. And like I said, rest, sleep quality are very important factor, because they directly affect your mental well-being also. And in sport we have seen that there is a mental fatigue thing. It's a real thing. There is a overtraining syndrome is a real thing. So many athletes, when they come to me and they ask me that I want to go for the ice bath and massage and all, I say first let me know how much you sleep, how much protein intake you are maintaining, because these are the first recovery things, which first hand recovery things, first stage of recovery things. If you pass them and you are already doing all the things correctly, then next stages come, like the sports massage and the ice bath and everything and all the other recovery modes. But first you have to fix your sleep. If you are having 7 to 8 hours of sleep, sound sleep, automatically your performance will be better. Your mental fatigue will not be there. The physically you will be recovered, no soreness and everything. And that's why all my athletes, I always ask them to fill the wellness form every day. So what was the quality of their sleep, what was the protein intake yesterday, hydration part, everything. I ask them to monitor. They themselves suddenly start to notice that yesterday when I slept better, I am feeling better. And when yesterday I didn't sleep on time, I am having that fatigue, or mental, even mental this thing, alertness is less. So automatically, so this is what I feel, that even parents would understand that this is going to make their kid better mentally and physically, even if the kid doesn't get very successful or doesn't get any medals. This benefit is outweighs anything. Like, it's a lifestyle, this thing. So that's what I always
Absolutely.
believe.
Absolutely. And it's very rightly said, right? I mean, because sports teach you so many things. Sports gives you toughness. Your physical attributes are been monitored, and you identify and you know how your physical attributes are. So not just about winning a medal, but also a physical and an active life is also very important. See, uh, we when it comes to the economy, we are the third largest economy. I mean, when we are moving from third to fourth, fourth to third, and so on, right? So even the economy would need people or individuals or citizens who can take this economy to the next level, right? I mean, that, so it's not just about winning medal. So on that note, Dennis sir, what I wanted to ask is, see, we have been talking, this two three questions were more relevant towards parents, also to the sports ecosystem contributors. But Dennis, what I want to understand is, see, operationally, when it comes this particular number of 10 million youth identification and so on, operationalization of this at the ground level, how, as a veteran, how would you tell us that how is it possible? And should there be also contribution or incorporation of certain other sports, like kabaddi, archery, along with alongside with the Olympic discipline or development? Dennis, if you would like to understand that as well, operations
Yeah, yeah,
and contribution and introduction of this kind of very traditional national sports of us. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I agree with Vamsi sir and what Amber sir had said. To add to the point, when it comes to statistics or numbers and all, no, you see, the parents who are listening to us should understand that along with what Amber sir said, no, junk food khare and they are using their time into this thing. We have to understand 14 hours of 24 hours is used at an average on the reels and the social media. Okay, that takes away from them physical activity. No, they are like lying on their bed or in their seat and all that things. Also, it has been proven. Just 2 days back, I read a report. Almost, if you see continuously 2.5 hours of social media, it affects your brain, neurological problems
Mhm.
will develop. Yeah, yeah. So psychological problem, neurological problem. Okay. So also we have to understand that there is a concept called nano parenting. I want an iPhone, matlab, I want an iPhone. I want this means I want this. I don't want to go here means I won't do this. And all that. So there should be some reverse psychology over there also. And you have to also make sure that counseling is very, very important. You know, sometimes the parents fail to make their kids understand about that. So this is the right time where our late president had said that APG sir had said that teachers are very important in your life. You know, when the teacher starts counseling, there's a different perception to it. Kids listen to their to their mentors or their teachers and all that thing, and that is where we can increase the when you say participation, as sir said, no, Vamsi sir said, participation is more important. Yeah, participation will come, and slowly your middle part will also come. That's what how I look from my end.
Okay.
Because
And
you said you have a 8-year-old kid. No?
yeah,
So you understand that she requires, it's a girl.
sure, girl.
Yeah, yeah. And now over here there is no I don't differentiate between girl and a boy, but I feel there is a huge scope when it comes to girls also.
Absolutely.
When it comes to a podium finish or whatever it is, I feel that that should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, great. And very rightly said, sir. I mean, we need to understand, we need to restrict, or there has to be certain thoughts when it comes to using the screen time. Counseling plays a very important role. Um, to a larger extent, I also one very important thing, sir, um, which I come across is counseling from the right counselor is also very important.
Yeah.
Okay, that plays a very important role. Anybody who's listening to us right now, yes, counseling your child is very important, but when it comes to sports counseling, when it comes to physical attributes literacy counseling, you should counsel that from the right individuals as well. Because I remember in couple of weeks back, when we invited certain guests of ours, many a times our parent becomes counselors where we have half of the information. Okay, so that is also very important. And this particular thought process of counseling from the sports perspective or physical literacy perspective should also be driven from the national level, is what my thought process as an individual who has played professional cricket, professional sport, is what I would also recommend. So, Vamsi sir, on that note, I'm going to come to you on one very important thing, sir. The sports which you talk about is baseball, softball. Okay. Um, Now, Vamsi sir, how we have also been talking about we should do talent identification from tier 2, tier 3, very rural kind of population. Now, how do we take a sport like baseball, softball to tier 2, tier 3 cities? Okay, how do we identify that particular talent? Okay, and would you also have certain other sports which you would like everybody, not just parents, but also anybody from the school's authority, should emphasize in today's scenario where we are talking about creating that pool for Olympic pipeline? Yes,
Okay.
Vamsi.
Interesting question, but I myself is amazed the way we think about talent identification. I'll tell you the realistic, practical example which I experienced. I have seen it. talent identification is nothing to do with any particular sport. Nothing to do with any particular sport. I'll tell you the realistic example.
Mhm.
And also relate to what our favorite most popular sport in India, cricket, and the most
Okay.
popular sport in US, baseball, having some
Yes.
similarities. Hope you all may heard about a movie called Million Dollar Arm.
Yeah.
So Million Dollar Arm is the reality show. JB Bernstein from US, MLB scout, came to India, done the scouting program. Diamonds in the Rough is the like a kind of a scouting program. They have done that. So prior to he coming here, there was a brief to him saying that India is a rich number of people with bat and ball sporting skill, and baseball being that bat and ball sport, you would find n number of people, n number of people. So your reality program will be always successful. So they came in leaving about the if you have watched the movie, there is a practical difficulty, all that bureaucratic obstacles and political obstacles that has been narrated in the movie, that we don't
Yeah.
talk because we are not to like really talk about that political and bureaucratic barriers for any program. So coming to the essence is that when the scouting happened, when the trials happened at multiple places in India, and the final is happening with the 20 players scouted across India, none of them are cricketers. None of them are cricketers. The brief they got that you will find n number of people because it's a nation of cricketing nation, but they haven't got it. Do you know how many all out of the 20, 16 plus people are from one sport? Can anyone guess what that sport is? It's a javelin throw.
Okay.
It's a javelin throw. To throw ball, you need a arm strength. Javelin throwers having built that arm strength throwing the javelin, they are the one who throwed, who has pitched in a baseball term pitching. Fastest pitching happened with 86 miles per hour.
Yeah.
None of the cricketer has really done that. None. So that is a practical example. Talent identification is nothing to do with a particular sport.
Mhm.
No relation. So once you identify the talent, how do you groom it? How do we ensure that you leverage that? And to make that happen is one thing. So
Okay.
everyone actually born with the talent, but unfortunately we never actually measure the talent. We always measure the skill. Skill is different from the talent.
Okay.
That's
Great.
where we fail. That's where we fail. That's where the stars are not coming. So it's a practical example. Anyhow, commercially, business is different from the all that. So in spite of like not having enough cricketers to go to the MLB to actually do that program, having the three players Riku Singh, Dinesh Patil traveled to MLB leagues and they played over there. And Riku Singh actually changed from MLB to like a professional wrestler.
Professional.
Dinesh came back. And that story is a different story. And the question, the point I wanted to answer here is that very essence is that we need a clear pathways to once the talent got identified, and when the talent identification is also, when you look at the parameters to look at is not about us to the specific sport. If the talent scouting happening over there, so what is that you have to look at? So in fact, I was talking to one of the senior member and MLB, they were talking about like a very casual conversation. Okay, you have a number of people cricketers. I think we can fill our all rosters with the cricketers because you have a number of people and all. I said, if you really need, don't take the cricketers. Go to the coastal areas, find a best fisherman. You will find a best pitcher over there.
Yeah.
Fisherman is the one who actually have a greatest arm strength by actually throwing the fishing nets. The kind of arm strength he has, no one has it in this country.
Yeah.
That is naturally built from the age from the five itself. Our
Yeah.
techniques of being building is artificial. You under the safety net, you under the comfort, you are trying to build it. Go and see and look at the raw talent is already available about it. They were doing their job for their livelihoods, the kind of thing, their hard work they're doing, they inherently have talent. So rather than going into deep, I wanted to really make a statement. I wanted to own the statement also. To happy to answer with the n number of use cases that I have studied in last year, 8 years. Talent identification. Even if you have identified the talent, looking at the sport as the one sport in a mind, he may not be successful. He may not be successful. I'm not saying he will not be, may not be successful. So when the talent is identified, groom hell, and he will make miracles. That's why I will leave this.
Absolutely. And I just love the kind of the example which you have given. I mean, trust me, this thought never came to my mind about a fisherman, right? I mean, who in this world would have the strongest arm where you're being taught about fishing right from an age of 3 to 5 and throwing that safety net into the sea, into the damp or the water. I mean, who else is going to be having that kind of arm rather than having somebody? I mean, it's a very practical, very thoughtful example which you have given. Taking these thoughts, Amber sir, to the next expressions what we want to have from you is one is how would certain programs. Now parents are also very certain about these thoughts that okay, if my kid is more into sports and so on, it may impact their academic development. Okay, but since you come from a background which is into coaching and you have been associated with MCA, into talent hunt and so on, how would certain things like a long-term athletic development program help a kid help, and the parents should also rest assured about okay, they are driven through a long-term athletic development program strategy or a policy. That's one part of the question which I want to understand, Amber sir, from you. And would you also have certain recommendation, though you are from cricket, which is largely played in India, but would you also have a recommendation for other sports which the parents should also think of pursuing for their kids?
Definitely. So, just to clarify, yes, I am associated with Mumbai Cricket Association, but at my center in Pune, athletes from different backgrounds, different sports discipline come. So, football, swimming, badminton, fencing, so multitude of sports, and that's why I would recommend any sport like Vamsi sir was saying that not just to focus on cricket. Okay, cricket is there, and if your kid loves it, then definitely you don't need not to stop, but allow them to explore other options also, because at early age, like till I think I would say till 12, age of 12, it is advisable not to specialize in any particular sport. They should be playing 2 or 3 sports, in fact, because otherwise it also develops a dominance of certain muscles, of certain body movements. It might affect also in a way adversely. Of course, currently, if kids are not playing at all, then they should be playing at least one sport. But I'm talking about the professional sport. I'm talking about the specialization part. So if they are specializing, it's always advisable to have them at least play some one's other sport also, to have an overall development of their physical abilities and mental abilities and cognitive abilities also. So I would always recommend not to stop at one sport. And second thing about the long-term development, athlete development program. So initially, like I said, it's a long journey for any athlete. When they take up one sport, they start to get successful. Initial success never guarantees the long-term this thing. So the discipline comes, the nutrition part comes, the focus comes, consistency comes. So all those factors has to be inculcated by parents, by coaches into the kids. Every year they might not get medal, year they might not be very successful, sometimes they go through the injuries also. So we have to make them aware about this part of sport. If they are well prepared, if they are aware about these things, all everything is not I would say a positive. Some negative things will happen. If we make them aware about it, their journey will be more successful. They should be made aware that yes, injuries are going to happen, it might happen, certain setbacks are going to happen. So long term athlete development is not always about only getting successful, but also making them aware about the road to that success, or that dream that they are chasing, and making them well prepared. uh, and in the end, like we were discussing, that millions of people are fighting for one medal maybe in the world, like right from the grassroots level to the Olympic
Yeah.
level. I'm saying, if I'm saying about the million, so everybody is not going to get to that level. There will be certain defeats and everything, but what you have achieved through it, what you have learned through that process, is also very important for overall your life. So only from athlete perspective, like I said, the discipline, the consistency, and all those factors has to be also inculcated by the coaches and parents. And of course, it has to be a stage wise this thing. So initially they might be playing two or three supportive sports, and then they might get into a certain sport eventually, and graduating to a next level. So it's a process they have to follow, the discipline they have to follow, and then it will happen eventually.
Great, great. So, since we are at the last segment, last 15 minutes of our segment of our conversation, Dennis sir, I would quickly like to understand from you is, Vamsi sir also focused or probably emphasized on grooming. Talent identification is one aspect, but grooming. So, how do a parent? I'm going to take both the insights from both Vamsi sir and Amber sir also. So, how do a parent take care of that grooming aspect, Dennis sir? That is one. Second is, uh, Amber sir also said that there should be a multi-sports intervention which an individual should get into. Okay, so uh, when it comes to multi-sport, what the parent will think was my kid. Uh, okay, my kid is not into specific sport. If he's not getting a medal, I mean, there's no point of putting that particular kid into any kind of sport. I mean, I'm being very practical. I mean, as I said, being a parent of 8 years old daughter, I'm being a cricketer. If I give her bat, she will be like, she hates even touching the bat. She'll be like, no, dad, I'll do whatever. I would love to swim. I would love to play football. But no, I mean, I'm not okay with the cricket part aspect. But now, how do we groom where we are aware that okay, your kid is not going to be into one specific professional sport. It has to be multiple sports. So, how do the parent adopt this of grooming aspect, as well as letting the kid participate in multi-sport, but also at the same time should not have a winning mindset. It is just participative mindset. Yes, Dennis sir.
Yeah. So what is happening is that since I'm a sports professor, I come across this many a times. Yes, I can understand major part of my audience is more into sports. They want to. So when I'm teaching them sports management, they are saying, "Arey, sir, classroom teaching is let's go outside and do something." They want to have a tournament, they want to have a competition and all that, which is nice. Yes. Also, what I'm trying to tell you is that the focus should be equally to academic and also to the physical education part of it. I feel that most of the schools and institutions should introduce this as a compulsory subject also, because I'm an author of a textbook for 9th and 10th standard, physical education. Believe me, it's an optional subject. Computer science and some other subjects are there. So at times what happens is that now when you talk about sports physically, what we are discussing here, there is something called esports also,
Yeah.
which attracts a lot of money. There is a lot of gaming session. We four of us can sit together and we can play one tournament over there, which is attracting thousands and millions of dollars. So that is where it's there. Okay, talking about grooming and all, yes, parents should give them a free hand to understand that how was sports. So I've been a football coach, so I know that I like to train st- kids who are 7 years and above, because Amber sir will agree with me from the science perspective. Their bones are very soft at the age of 3, 5, and this thing. So when they become 7, they are like little bit better off. Their structure and their bone structure, the density of the bone and all is okay. Because as Amber sir rightly said, that injury is also there. No, so sometimes you think about forget about the medal part. अरे, participant ही कर नहीं पाएगा अगर मार लगेगा तो, if you get hurt and all that.
Yeah.
So for a particular sport, there is a different thing. Like you can take for gymnastics. Gymnastics start early, soft. I mean, flexibility and all is there. Gymnastics also finishes early, sir. I mean, Amber sir, as he said, 35 is a younger age. You see, Virat Kohli is still in his peak form.
Yeah.
I'm sure nobody. I'm sure nobody can challenge him. The youngsters, when it comes to all this yo-yo test or whatever, sir would know all this. Correct. But the gymnastic would finish it at the age of 16, 17 or 18 years. So that's where the parent have to identify, and as sir said, that yes, let them get into some sport which can start at 5, which can start at 7, and which can start at 10 also, and identify the sports, and they can go ahead. At the same time, keep that esports away from them. If you are,
Absolutely.
yeah, there might be a esport Olympics. As we are talking lately, we witness robotic Olympics also. Robots
Olympics.
are,
Yeah.
देखो, yeah. And when the robots are finishing the race, Vamsi sir, they are even fanning the robots.
Yes,
Hold
I have,
down.
I have
Ah,
seen
why do
that.
we need?
What happened recently at China regarding the
Yeah.
robotic ball.
Why do we need a Amber sir to fix up bones and all? We want technicians from Hyderabad and Bangalore and all to fan fan these robots who are running Usain Bolt's record and all that. So that's my take on it.
Understand. I mean, yeah, it's very rightly put it across. One very important thing which you spoke about, sir, is why is it important for multi-sport intervention from the parent perspective? Is because you need to identify or understand that every sport's age is very specific and limited, right? I mean, a very classic example is of gymnastic. Though gymnastic is called the mother of every sports, but the age of gymnastics is much lower or lesser than be it call any other sport. Okay, I mean Ronaldo at whatever age is still participating at the World Cup level. Look at Virat Kohli. I mean, at the same time, similar successful Rohit Sharma was not given a place, right? So you need to identify and understand that. So since we are moving or are entering into the last segment where we are going to conclude our conversation on this National Sports Day, Vamsi sir, what would be your message? Okay, what would be a message to the parent who are listening to us, who hesitate to encourage their kids towards non-traditional team sports due to career uh, insecurity or security concerns? And I'm going to add one more thought there. How should parent adopt the technology to ensure things which we are talking about, which we are discussing, identify the age, start early, gymnastic at this age, cricket can go to that age, and so on. How should they adopt technology? There are two questions related to this as a conclusive thought process. Vamsi sir, from your end.
Technology is inevitable in the current world. I would say it's inevitable. I'd also use a lot of technology, including the AI and all. So it is to sharpen, make more precise decisions, not to replace the basic skill. So if you try to adapt your technology for a basic skill, then that is nothing, no use, no use. So question is that now take an example of sending out a mail itself. I still, without using the technology, I'll draft it. But I'll use the technology to make sure that it is try to polish it. But I don't have any shame saying that I use the technology for even for sending out a mail.
Yeah.
So here the essence is same, right? Whether the message is clear. If you try to give a prompt and send out whatever the message came out, you send it, then you are not owning the message. So it's utter failure itself. Oh, for you should still have your basic skill and use the technology to sharpen it. Is in the coming to the sports, it is very essential. Is the reason because sports is also very competitive, very competitive. When you want to really be a topper, you should be well aware of what it is. Unless you are aware of what exactly your goal is, that you can't train, right? So during that, one message to the parent is that whether it is a niche sport, whether it is a popular sport, don't get biased. Be very comfortable in choosing it. One thing doesn't matter whether it is a most popular or very niche sport. And second important thing, don't compare, do a peer comparison from the beginning. Don't do a peer comparison. You have a vision to achieve something, right?
Yeah.
That takes time. So, persistence, consistent effort is very essential to achieve there. It is actually, so time is also required. So, like as I said, if my child is not winning at my school level, how can she win at a national level, right?
National level.
Don't carry
Yeah.
that perception. Don't carry that perception. Don't do a peer comparison. So you already made up a mind, work hard, plan it. Only ensure that you keep updating your plan with the ecosystem on which you are working on it, so that your target might also change. Maybe the 100-meter sprint today might be 9.98 or something. Tomorrow it might come to 9.7. So by the time you are the one to ready to run the race, the target might have changed. So adoption, understanding, using the technology up to date is very essential. One basic skill is that solely don't depend on the technology. You should own it. And this is a physical sport, not a e-sport that we are talking about. So you should own it and you should do that hard work. Unless you sweat out, you can't do anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very rightly said, sir. I mean, use the technology, but you need to understand where and how to use that particular technology to what extent. I mean, technology can help you take you to a certain level, but technology will not going to participate, unlike what happened in China, right? I mean, we are not robots, we are human beings. And that's where human beings are evaluated to win a medal and so on. So we have around 2.5 minutes. Ambassador, it's a very similar question. We would need a very short comment from you, where we are going to be concluding this from your end. So, how do coaches from the sports ecosystem across, not just in India, or else let's emphasize only on India right now, use technology, in today's world? What would be your thoughts?
So the technology is available at elite level, Sports Authority of India and all. But unfortunately, many are using this technology just to fulfill the mandatory requirement from the management, but not using the data effectively. I'm not saying that we should be a slave of the data, but we should be understanding that how to interpret that data. So with powered sports tech, whatever devices we develop it from that point of view, that all the aspects of an athlete, it gives an analysis of the athlete automatically. So you get to know all those parts. Of course, I am not saying that you should reject the athlete just based on that data, but you should be come to the point which area that athlete is weak, how to train that athlete, and accordingly make the training plan over the year. And long-term athlete development, the athlete testing becomes an important part of that. That throughout the development cycle of an athlete, you should be testing those athletes. So coaches are using the technology, but they are not they don't know what to do with that data. So unless they know that how to interpret the data, and it's of no use. Otherwise, technology is very important help for all the coaches. And if they use it in a better way and use the right technology also, not just the hype the technology, but use the right technology which gives them a real picture, it can make miracle. In Indian, because sports science is new, we should be using it more often and utilizing, but not the slave of the data, like I said again.
Absolutely. It's very rightly put it across. I mean, use the technology, don't become a slave of that particular technologies. When it's specifically when it comes to sports, right? Sports is a physical activity. So, Dennis, sir, a quick thought. We have just 10-20 seconds left. But how should the adoption of technology should be at a very ground level from the schools, physical education, the physical education classes or the periods perspective. How should we adopt that particular technology?
Yeah, like I said before, you make this physical education compulsory at some levels. Okay.
Correct.
Now, everybody over here, and I don't want to make it like a generation thing, but we are all Gen X over here, most of us. Okay. So I remember my grandmother. The technology was the cane. I should not perform. So the technology that time was a cane. I mean, now, if I'm coaching someone, I cannot touch the kid. So there's a big difference here. Yes, coming to the academic part and all. Yes, so physical education should be made compulsory. 30 minutes of time should be given compulsory during the 6 hours of the students' activity which is going on. A lot of institutes are having this turf and grounds and all. You don't need to invest a lot of things, but they have that thing, so they should utilize it more frequently. And that is what I feel over here. So since at this age, because I mentioned about my granny, at this age, I'm still playing the Super Veterans 50 plus football tournament. I still play. So
Yeah.
that's all coming from how our parents and grandparents have brought us up towards sports.
Absolutely. So on that note, we have already extended a minute, but we have one comment from Yogesh Modak.
Yeah.
Yogesh sir, unfortunately, we should be able to address this, but since we have already extended the time, I would definitely request our amazing guest speakers to look at your comment on LinkedIn and respond back on LinkedIn itself. I would also personally like to do that. But on that notes, thank you so much, Vamsi sir, Amber sir, Dennis sir. It was an amazing conversation. I loved it. But given the span of time which we have been given, we have to adhere to that particular time, or else it will become robust for us. And also thank you to the entire audience who's joined us live and who's going to watch us on Meta, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. It was an amazing conversation. Please stay tuned for our next Phylpt Live broadcast, where we will keep getting more and more, industry experts, guest speakers who'd help us in terms of the contribution. Looking forward for the next sessions, and thank you so much again, Vamsi sir, Amber sir, and Dennis sir.
It's a pleasure.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.